Top 5 fits for Wisconsin, although I think we know where they're leaning after hearing from Mike Heller earlier. But if they don't, and the number 1 guy's on the list anyway, but number 5, they don't go with the interim coach. Dave Clawson at Wake Forest. If you want a sea change in the way that they do things, Wake Forest offense wide open. Dave Clawson's done a great job there. Getting a quarterback like Sam Hartman, who, believe me, will get a graduation present from me when he's done from Wake Forest. He is really, really good and really efficient. And watching him play was one of the things you're like, well, I mean, he's one of those guys that's so efficient and so good that sometimes the defense looks like they're in position. He makes a really great play. And you're like, well, what are you going to do? And Dave Clawson's responsible for that. And I think, I don't know if he's going to be at Wake Forest forever. He's got a good situation there. He can keep building this, but it's hard to find Sam Hartmans, even if you're anybody, to find Sam Hartmans.
What's his record against FSU in his career?
It's pretty damn good. So maybe, it might be time to look for a bigger spot than Wake Forest.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if Wisconsin could have him they could, I guess, in theory. But if they had their eyes set elsewhere, then yes, I think he would be a hire that would make a lot of sense. He's doing some good things with the Demon Deacons. And, if they can keep him around there, it'd be really cool to see what he could keep building up. But, that'd be a good choice.
A MAC name getting a lot of play for a lot of jobs, and especially Big Ten jobs. Sean Lewis, the young coach at Kent State. Again, this might be the one that would maybe fit him, but I think there might be a couple other Big Ten jobs open. Indiana just lost to Nebraska. I think maybe Tom Allen's seat might have just gotten
They
more.
stink, man.
Yeah,
Indiana's bad team.
You know what? I'm psycho. He is like a level, I think, above me.
Yeah. So
Tom Allen?
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that's not Wisconsin's not the fit, but Sean Lewis is getting some, especially Big Ten talk because he's there at Kent State, which is in Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about him. I know Kent State's a good program. So, yeah, sure. Sorry, I don't have a lot to add here.
Number 3, and this is the one that maybe Nebraska needs to consider, considering they've let the last 2 North Dakota State coaches go to other places. But Matt Entz, 41-5, 2 national titles at North Dakota State. He is probably going to get hired by a Power 5 school in this cycle. I don't know if it's Colorado or Nebraska or whoever. There might be other, might be Auburn. Who knows what will happen with Matt Entz? But he's at his point at North Dakota State where it's time to jump to the next level.
Craig Bowles, former Nebraska coach, not a head coach, but an assistant coach, goes to North Dakota and has this amazing run, and they don't look at him. I don't even know if they ever really talked.
Went to Wyoming.
Went to Wyoming. He's okay.
Yeah. But, if he had gone to
Coach Chris Kleiman, excuse me.
But if they had gone right from Solich to Craig Bowl, maybe there wouldn't have been such a drastic
yes, I agree.
change. It wouldn't have been.
Because they play similar styles, although, again, North Dakota State, what a dynasty.
Yeah. So there was one they missed. Number 2, Lance Leipold, won 3 national titles. It was, in Wisconsin.
The Whitewater?
Yeah. And so he knows how to build programs. I mean, this is, for Kansas fans, this is kind of the nightmare scenario where the 2 jobs you would not want to both open at once for this guy are both open, Nebraska and Wisconsin. But because of what Wisconsin has done, I think you might be able to take them off the board and just worry about the Cornhuskers on this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing this whole thing on Wisconsin, and it's likely that they've already got the dude. But, Lance Leipold, the coaching openings aren't done just yet. There's others that could potentially join the fray, and based on what we've seen so far, odds are they'd probably be interested in Lance Leipold. So kind of wait and see on who else may, abruptly come open. But certainly that's the part that sucks if you're a Kansas fan is you're, enjoying the ride, this big weekend coming up, but you kind of also know, like, this could be the last run with Lance Leipold, or, everybody's going to be talking about not him and what you're doing, but what he may be doing somewhere else in the near future. And I know he's downplayed it as best he can, but that's just not going to go away because he's suddenly, without trying to, become, the guy in this entire coaching carousel already. And that's not going to probably change given the characters in play here.
Even if you have a coach that's successful, maybe even young or whatever, you never know when that glitter or that shine comes off. He will always probably be involved in being able to go somewhere else. And with all due respect to Iowa State, is Matt Campbell's name being tossed around as much now?
No, and it's because of this guy. I do. I think it's because of this guy. I think he's kind of taken his place. And number one, the guy they've already hired is the interim coach. Jim Leonhard has been turning jobs down to stay at Wisconsin. This is clearly a job he really wants, and it's his now. It's, to me, and especially hearing from Mike Heller, confirmed that that's who they really want to go with. I think the bigger question for Jim Leonhard going forward is, do you win some games down the stretch so that you can solidify your spot as the head coach? And what changes will you make scheme-wise and recruiting-wise that will turn Wisconsin into the next decade?
He's well, and Mike Heller all but hired him, right?
Yeah. So there you go. But, yeah, I think Jim Leonhard's the dude.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think he's the dude.
Yeah, no, I think that he's pretty clearly the guy based on what Mike Heller said and based on what other reports were saying. Yeah, I think that he makes a ton of sense, and that's, I guess, what we're just all supposed to believe. Unless they got some super secret candidate that they're just not referring to in any way. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward that this is an audition. Or basically just, hey, this is your job. Prove it that it's your job. And so if Jim Leonhard can do that, sounds like we'll probably hear him as the guy sooner rather than later. But a long way to go on the schedule. So let's see what happens here. But very interesting that this job opened up and already seems to have been filled sooner than the others potentially, although not officially, which is very interesting. But you talked about Dave Clawson earlier and Sam Hartman. That is a special combination right now, and I can see where he could get some buzz. He's been at Wake for a long time, but with what they're doing, won 11 games last year, and we'll see this year where they end up, but they're
win
fun.
9 or 10 this year at least.
No, absolutely, they're already halfway there. Yeah. So Sam Hartman is a special player and a difference maker for them. So yeah, I hope that like them and like Leipold with Kansas, and you just hope they can enjoy their seasons and not get all sidetracked by the carousel talk, because we've seen that, we know how that goes, and it's not a lot of fun, especially when you're having a good run like Wake is, so or Kansas is. So yeah, hopefully that can stay the course despite all of this other outside talk.